Welcome to the SWBL podcast. I am your host, Brian Benware, and today's episode is brought to you by 1356 Public House. Today, I am joined by my good friend, Alex Heck, captain of the A's, as we go through our captain interview series here. Really, we're going to be looking at the roster for this coming season, a little bit of a look back on season 19, as well as just some fun questions kind of looking into the future. So that's kind of what we're in for. Alex, how you been, buddy?
Yeah, doing well, Brian. Thanks for having me. It's great seeing your face even virtually.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got my green on, like just trying to, I don't have A stuff, but try to at least go with the color scheme for sure.
I appreciate it. I actually was looking for stuff today, and I realized I leave all my A's gear in St. Louis just in case I forget it, because I live in Ohio now, obviously, as we talked about, and I don't want to leave it here on accident. So
yeah, smart. Well, awesome, man. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm happy to see you, and I'm excited for season 20 to get all the guys back together. Should be a fun, competitive season. But let's just dive into it, man. So last season, you guys finished 5-5 and just missed the playoffs by a few runs. Even it wasn't even, it wasn't like you kind of were out of it until the last game or anything. Like you were in it to a couple runs. So like, how did your team kind of cope with that? What was the feeling around the team, finishing that way? And just kind of let me know what the vibes were.
Yeah, I mean, we started slow. I think the season started slow. It wasn't the way that we wanted to start off. We started to I got there late. I was there, didn't get there till Saturday. And so it just kind of seemed like we were all waiting to click. The A's have always been a chemistry team. We've always been, our best seasons have been when everyone's having fun together and we really click as a team and a unit rather than individuals performing. And we didn't have that feel yet. Sunday felt like we hit our stride a little bit. Coming into Saturday night, we built some confidence. Sunday we hit our stride. Anytime you wake up Monday morning with a chance to play more than one game is a good feeling. And we knew that we had that. We knew it was a long shot because we needed the run differential. We needed to win the run differential and a little bit of help. But we felt like we could get there. And as you said, we were just short. But it was, it gave us confidence. I felt good heading into the off season that we had the pieces to build. Or certainly having Chris Vorbeck blow up the way that he did was huge confidence boost to us that anything happened next year or this coming year.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Chris, were you guys expecting that kind of a performance from him? Did you know that was there? Or because he's one of the greatest rookies we've ever seen in the SWBL. So did you know that was on the horizon for him, or what, did he even surprise you?
He surprised me. So I hadn't seen him play before. I think we were hoping for a very good player, but how can you put that expectation on somebody to perform the way he did? So I was hoping and kind of expecting him to be a difference maker. I was hoping for that. I certainly wasn't would have been thrilled with just him being a solid player, but I was hoping for a little bit more, and we got even more than that. So definitely thrilled with that. Yeah, Steve. Awesome. I think Steve always had a little twinkle in his eye when he talked about him. He knew there was something more there.
Little bro crush going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, so the $1 million question, and we'll get into the roster, but there's a lot of rumors going about Chris that he may not be here this year. Is that true? Do you want to answer the rumors? Do you want to leave it as is? Do you know yet?
Yeah. So we got nothing to hide, but Chris will be in attendance in season 20. As of now, he's got some family things going on, commitments. He is, I'm not sure that I can discuss some of it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
He's expecting, him and his wife are expecting. So right around Memorial Day weekend, we're hoping that he can be there. We've locked in Monday and hopefully one other day at the minimum. But hoping he can be there the bulk of Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which is awesome. The bulk of the games. If he's there 8 games, I consider that a full time.
For sure. Yeah. And, of all the things to miss for, it's a pretty good one.
It's a good reason.
You know what this league's really about. It's family and friends and stuff. And so we wish them all the best and congratulations to them. But let's talk a little bit more about the team. I'll run through the roster real quick. Obviously you and Chris we've talked about, but Paul Castellano, you re-signed him, and Steve Hayes, who has progressively gotten better and better every year. Then you've got Mike Carl's coming back this year.
Yep.
You re-signed Josh Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
He played for you sparingly last year, and then you drafted a rookie in Evan Quo, who I've heard some good things about, coming out of Drury, and apparently knows a lot of the guys from growing up around here. So, talk to me a little bit about what makes this year's team better than last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think a few things is one, really, I think that we're building on that chemistry that we had. I really feel like our Sunday, Monday is carrying forward momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Figuring out the team and kind of who we got at the beginning of the year. We were still or the beginning of the tournament, we were still figuring out lineups, things like that, playing time. And at this point, I think we've got roles pretty well set up for everybody. Again, the nice thing about the A's is as like a chemistry team, it's team first. So whether it's whoever on the team, there's no ego. So if somebody's got a hot bat, nobody has an issue saying, hey, I can, I'll sit for this game. We like to bat 4. And so we obviously have more than 4 batters, but we've all talked as a team, and we want to, kind of share at bats and not bat 5, not put ourselves in a situation where Chris Vorback isn't getting as many at bats as possible.
Yeah.
So we feel good about that. Evan, we felt like we had an opportunity. I mean, we have 2 great pitchers, we feel like, in Paul and Josh. We feel like either one can be an ace. We really feel like Josh is ready to take that step to be our ace. Paul, people forget, but he was leading ERA for a while. He was dark horse for Cy Young. He's always been a guy who can, historically, is more of an innings eater, but it feels like any game he can steal you or win you a game. And last year it felt like he could win us games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Evan offers us a lefty, which is something we've never had. Chris is a lefty bat, but so just seeing the way that Will Rath's been utilized other lefties in the league, it just felt like we're emerging from an era of everyone plays in the field, everyone bats initially season 10 when it first started, to now we're getting almost shadowing Major League Baseball of specialists and things like that. So
yeah,
the A's are certainly open to adapting, and this is our kind of foray into that.
Awesome.
So we'll see how it goes.
Well, you had talked about the 4-man lineup and kind of sticking firm to that, but that was one of my questions was, you're one of 4 teams this year with 7 people on the roster, which has got to be like an all-time high for the amount of teams with that big of a roster. I've certainly been on that end of it where I've had, I don't know, it feels like 14 freaking people on my team at times, but how you kind of touched on that, and how do you feel like that could be a strength? I mean, that is tough as a captain, being able to manage playing time for 7 people, making the right calls on the hot hands, those things, knowing when to sit somebody, when to, sub somebody in. So what's your approach? And how do you feel like that's really going to give you an advantage, having a bigger roster?
Yeah. I think that really it's just that flexibility that we can tailor to whoever, at this point, between me, Paul, and Steve, we got a scouting report on just about everybody in the league. So we feel like we can put our heads together. Really, it feels a lot like there's a triumvirate of leadership here between me, Paul, and Steve. I consider Steve co-captain. He's equal share. Paul's a former captain, so there's 3 heads putting strategies together at one time. And again, there's just no egos with that. Paul frequently says, like, we should have Josh. Like last season during the run, he was like, Josh should pitch this one. Let me get the next one. I feel great about that matchup. There's just no ego there. Same for at-bats and things like that. So we feel like it's an opportunity for strength for us to be able to have that flexibility, adding a lefty pitcher, adding, certainly having Michael Carl, who's a great bat, just gives us extra depth and flexibility. And especially, like I mentioned, as Chris potentially not being available for the whole weekend, you never know. We're getting up there in age, and there's those hammies
Unfortunately,
are getting fragile. So you
Yeah.
never know what happens.
Yeah, who knows in 10 more years where the roster is going to be like 14 deep and
Yeah.
you're going to say, well, my knees will give me 3 games and that's it. So, or whatever. But yeah, no, I think, I agree. I think especially as, like you said, we evolve as a league into kind of roles and people understanding their roles and where they play in. And if everybody understands that on the team, it does make it easier when you have to sit somebody or when other guys are rooting for their teammates. If they get in at bat, that maybe they've been sitting and haven't hit for 2 or 3 games, and then they get in at bat and do well. They're rooting, your guys are rooting for them, and that only helps build toward a playoff run. So, one thing I did want to mention too, and we'll kind of jump into the season 20 outlook, but you guys had 3 of the top 20 players in the rankings, which was one of the higher teams. And I think people forget that about the A's, about some of the star power, some of the consistency that you guys have got on the roster to go along with, some quality players in Mike Carl and Josh Rogers and yourself. And then the unknown of Evan, but at the same time, like, he's got a pedigree. We'll see if baseball translates. Like, sometimes that is a struggle, but yeah, I mean, you've got Chris came in at 12th. Paul came in at 14th, and then Steve rounded out the top 20 at 20. So it's nice to kind of hang your hat on a squad of that. Not everybody can say they've got 2 guys, let alone 3. So
yeah, no, I mean, I think that you look at another aspect of that is just rounding out a team, looking at the teams that are successful, what sets them apart. Sometimes it's not the best offense, it's the pitching and defense too. And so that's something that we felt like we've evolved. And people forget that Paul was a perennial Gold Glove or Gold Hands finalist and in contention for that. Steve has certainly, I mean, the progression of his fielding in his career, you've mentioned that he's a much improved player, but I think fielding's the thing that he's improved the most in. And so we feel like we're getting that defense in line, we're getting the pitching in order. We've always felt like an above average hitting team. And so now it's just putting all the pieces together and some of that strategy. And, we're not beholden to batting 4, but just any way we can win, we're going to push the advantage.
That's good. It's a good mindset. Well, I've mentioned in a couple podcasts, because Paul's one of my favorite players, but people forget Paul's one of the few people in the league that's been nationally ranked in all 3 facets: pitching, fielding, and hitting. And they forget that, but he's good at everything he does. And then it even got brought up, like, he's good in doing it in tennis shoes. So let alone anything else, right? So
tennis shoes and a sleeveless cutoff shirt.
Yeah, for sure. And now he's got 2 kids on, so he's got that dad power even like twice over.
Right.
So
that's right.
Well, so let's dive into the season 20 outlook. And when we look at your division, and the division outlook's brought to you by Cardinal Blinds and Shutters, our division sponsor. You got the Astros as the 1 seed, you guys, and then the new upstart Orioles in the 3 hole there. So what was your first impression when the draw came out of kind of how you landed? What are your, I guess, initial feelings toward your division?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, my first thought was, who's on the Orioles again? I can't keep track sometimes, but no, I mean, anytime it's a mixture of emotions every time there's a draw, because it's fun to play against your friends, and so there's that competitive edge of like, man, I want to beat these guys. I think that getting the Orioles as a 3 seed, when you look at their roster, they're probably not a 3 seed, at the end of the day, with the guys they got on there. So there's a little bit of a tough draw there, but at the other end, Sam's record against the A's, no matter what team he's on, is not very good. So we feel pretty good about that record going in. So, I mean, I think that, we feel good about against even years when we're not playing very well, we've been sub 500. We've always felt like we're giant killers. And so, we've got good records against the Yankees. We've never beaten a Chris Metter team, but that's kind of our kryptonite there. But we always feel like we steal some games from teams that are better than us on our down years. And then on our up years, we feel like we can beat anybody and hang with anybody. And I think we show that. So we're up for any challenge. We're not, certainly not afraid, but we're excited to prove that this is our year. I think was the ending emotion there.
Yeah. I was thinking about, like, if I was an A, what I would have been thinking when the draw happened. And I think at first, when you go through that first tier and you look at those three teams that were there, the Yankees, the Twins, and the Astros, you had to be like, oh, thank God we got the Astros. And then you get to tier 3 and you're like, dang it, we got the Orioles. Like, you got probably the best draw you could have asked for out of tier 1 and the worst draw you could have out of tier 3.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's a pretty fair assessment, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Twins are, like I said, they're kind of our kryptonite. The Yankees with adding Gus is a scary team. So I think that we're, that's pretty fair there. But the Orioles will be tough. But again,
so will the Astros.
So will the Astros. Oh yeah. No, but I mean, I think this is a really.
I think this is
the league. It's the most competitive league. Any team can win it. Any team could finish third.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be fun. I think it'll come down to Monday.
Yeah.
For potentially all three teams. We could all be sitting right around 5, like 6 and 4 could win the division. 4 and 6 could put you third. Yeah. So I think it'll be a really fun weekend.
Find that schedule real quick and I'll look at your Monday. So you've got the Astros first game Monday.
Okay.
So that's your last game of the season. And then the Astros actually have a second game against the Orioles. So their last, it's all divisional right there. Yeah. And Sam, we were talking about it during the schedule podcast, but Sam did a great job of putting a lot of divisional games in that last day. Yeah. And it's gonna, we all kind of talked about it. It could come down to that last game, those last 2 games. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. And so
there's no feeling like walking up Monday, even when you're not playing or even if you're not in the playoff hunt, but just walking up and feeling the tension of the playoffs chase is one of my favorite parts of the weekend.
It is fun. Being those years that, we've only made the playoffs once as in the Astros, but all the years prior, even when we were completely out of it, it was always fun to just stay and watch and feel the buzz around, the park and everything. So, well, speaking of the schedule, we did that podcast recently, and I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to it but I would imagine you've looked at the schedule. And one of the things that got brought up for you guys was, at least some of the things we noticed were, Saturday looks tough for you guys. It looks a bit like a gauntlet. And then you have early games Sunday and Monday. Saturday is, you got the White Sox, the Orioles, the Rockies, and then the Twins.
Yeah.
So it looked like probably your toughest day. Did you have any, takeaways from when you first saw the schedule, or?
Yeah, similar thoughts. We kind of asked for the Sunday, Monday thing. That was just personnel, being able to get guys there that worked out the best for us. But again, I think most years it feels like we start slow and finish strong. And I don't know what that is about us. Maybe some of us are just, we need a couple games to get our timing back or whatever it is. I've been out of town since I've been in the league, basically. I think maybe when I was in high school, when it was like preseason 10. So there's always guys playing in St. Louis, it seems like. And since I've been in, Ohio, at least I swing off a tee or something, but I'm not seeing live pitching.
Right.
I try and have my wife throw to me sometimes, but but I'm not, I'm not seeing Gus's curveball.
Right.
So I think that it's our first goal is if we can be around 500, we feel really good about our Sunday, Monday. That's just historical. We don't care who we're playing. I think that we just feel great about the back half of a season. So this is about just not starting slow. And again, if our mindset's stealing a game, which I don't think that's how we feel about anybody on that schedule, but it is, it's 4 hard teams on Saturday. But we feel confident about, like I said, being able to utilize our matchups and playing to strengths that I think will shock the world.
There you go. Let's go. I'd love to bring that back, especially with the flag and everything too. But well, so on your schedule, do you have a game circled? Like, is there one game that right now stands out to you that, hey, we got to get up for this one, or this one's the most important right now, or what you see maybe becoming the most important?
Man, that's a great question. Looking at our schedule, I think the divisional games number one, or just so it's hard to say one game because there's really four that we look at as crucially important, as I'm sure you guys do too. If the Orioles weren't in our division, that might be one I circle just from a pride standpoint of wanting that to happen. But I do think I looked at the new website, which Sam sent out the link to recently, and showed our historical record. And again, we've never beaten Chris Metter team. So we never beat the Rays or the Twins. So that, to me, I don't know if the rest of the team is circling that, but that's a point of pride for me that I want to change that.
Awesome. Yeah.
They were the ones who ended our playoff run the year that we kind of bottled lightning, and we lost to them in the championship. So that was they've just always had our number.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to beat Chris. I mean,
they were the Phillies then, but
yeah, not a lot of people have beaten Chris. So it's just kind of the fact of the matter. But well, so we're moving into power ranking season, and all of that's kind of coming up. So if you were to guess, where do you think you'll be ranked, and then where do you feel like you should be ranked out of the 9 teams?
I would guess, just historically, we'll probably be ranked 6th or 5th or something like that. We'll probably middle of the pack, but somewhere around there. And I would say, I mean, just coming off a 5-5 season, that's probably fair. I think that the Orioles, the Yankees, obviously, other people have made big additions this year, that they've sort of won the offseason. We've made one signing that nobody in the league really knows who he is. So we haven't won the offseason, but I'm fine with that. And my goal is to win the season. So I frankly, I haven't put a ton of thought into where we should be ranked, or where I feel like we should be ranked. All I care about is the end of the season as being number 1.
All right. Good words for sure. Well, I do have the hitting, pitching, and fielding rankings. Would you like to know where you ranked?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe. So for hitting, you ranked 7th. For pitching, you ranked 8th. And for fielding, you ranked 7th. So
disrespect. Yeah.
I would agree. I've seen everybody's rankings, so some make sense to me and some don't. So, but that's also my opinion. It's unfortunately the voting is opinion based, and it is what it is. But
and as somebody who voted, again, I was kind of like, can't tell you on some of these things, So no, that I mean, it puts a chip on our shoulder, but we didn't need more motivation. But there you have it.
There you go. Well, so let's talk about the other 2 divisions real quick, and I'm going to ask you to pick a winner from each division. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the other 2 divisions, the Corner Pub and Grill, is the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Expos. Who do you feel comes out on top for that, and maybe why, if you have any reasoning behind it?
The Yankees, because of Gus.
Okay.
I just think that addition puts them over the top. Whereas we talk about Paul as somebody who does it all. Gus is somebody who does it all. He can, any weakness on your team, he can pretty much single-handedly flip it into a strength. Whereas people forget he's a great fielder too.
Yeah.
So if he's not pitching, he's still one of the better fielders there. So
yeah.
That's how I see that division breaking down.
Yeah, I do think that the addition of him actually helps their fielding more so than their pitching, because I feel like you lose Jackson, like Jackson's awesome, and so it feels like kind of 1-2, whatever. I think you get more power at the plate from Gus. But then again, like I was pretty high on Jackson. He just didn't get a lot of at bats. Yeah. So obviously that's going to change with
Jackson raked the last couple years.
Yeah. And I think Scott would tell you, like, one of his biggest regrets was not letting Jackson hit sooner and more. But I think what really is going to make the biggest difference, and maybe people aren't talking about it, is the fielding aspect, because they lost John Callaway last year and they weren't bad. Kevin was a great right fielder for them, and Jackson and Scott kind of switched out in left field. But having, 5 or 4 games, depending on how much you want to pitch Gus, having him in left field potentially, or even moving Kevin to right full time and having him in right field, I think that just gives them a bit of a boost. He's definitely a better fielder than I think what they've had the last year. So
yeah.
All right. Then the Ketting Eye Centers division is the Twins, the Rockies, and the Marlins.
Yeah, I think. I mean, to be honest, I could see that going either way between the Rockies and the Twins, but I would just, based on our earlier discussion, I'd say the Twins.
Yeah, I think they'll probably be the preseason favorites, which they're the defending champs. They probably should be. So,
yeah.
All right, then
Rockies always seem to put together. It seems like every 2 or 3 years they because they've got the same guys for the most part. But
yeah, Breida's gone now. He retired, so they lost
that's right.
Kyle. Yeah. But they've drafted 2 rookies with ball experience, so it's kind of a new look rookies. I mean, you still have your main 3 in BK and Blake, and now Grant is back. He was back last year, but you've got those 3, and then they have Chad Young, who came and pitched great for them last year. So it's semi new look. Like it's just shifting. It feels like the Rockies have been shifting for a couple of years. So, well then who wins our division?
I mean, I gotta say A's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm never gonna pick against ourselves.
All right. All right, and then pick the 2 wild cards. So who are the other 2 playoff teams?
Yeah. The first division was Yankees. Remind me, who was Yankees, White Sox,
Expos. And then you've got.
And I would say the Rockies.
Okay.
And whoever's second place in the problem is, I think our division, the second place person will probably be 5-5. So it's if that gets you into the playoffs or not, which maybe it does. I'd say second place team in ours, which, no offense to you, I would say the Orioles at this point.
Okay, cool. All right, so then we would have a playoffs of A's, Orioles, Yankees, Twins, Rockies.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into the last segment. It's something I'm calling the unknown. And we're going to just do a rapid fire 10 question this time. So what's the final record for the A's?
7-3.
Who is the team MVP in season 20?
For the A's?
Yeah.
Borbeck.
Okay. What's your favorite 90s song?
Ooh. I got to think about if it's 90s or not, but no, it's 2000. So I would say, man, that's a great question. I'm thinking of all early 2000 stuff, but
yeah. Some of these people in our league, we're going to be like, these are oldies for them.
Yeah, I know. Man, I'm thinking about what is I would just say Yellow Ledbetter, Pearl Jam at this point. That's what's coming to me is
all right.
Early 90s Pearl Jam.
That's a good one. Yeah. Who will lead the league in strikeouts in season 20?
Jackson.
Favorite team to play against?
Whatever team Sam's on.
All right, so Orioles this year.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite place to order lunch during the season?
Oh, it's Jimmy John's, no question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who will lead the league in RBIs in season 20? Home runs gets too much glory.
Chris Warbeck.
All right.
Yeah, I think we got the singles. I think Steve and I both get enough singles to where he's going to rack up their RBIs.
All right. Cool. You're having a movie night for the team, having the guys over. What movie do you show?
The Replacements.
Nice. Very good. All right. Choose one and give up 2. So you only get to keep one of these things during the season. The pool, alcohol, or lawn chairs.
Oh. Lawn chairs is the easy first to give up to me.
So you're gonna just sit on the whole time.
Especially with the fence and
with the wall. Man, that'd
Yeah.
be a crowded wall if everybody gives up lawn chairs.
Yeah. Man, I would say it's hard because I have a kid now because the pool's like so nice for that.
Mhm,
I know you know that,
mhm.
but I don't know about not drinking some beers throughout the day.
That's
So
my
I'd say
question.
give up the pool.
Okay, we're keeping alcohol. All right. And then who wins the championship?
A's.
A's all the way. Shock the world.
Shock the world.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, buddy. It's good to see you. Like we said, let me get through some sponsor recognition here. Our sponsors for season 20 are 1356 Public House, Brex, Reuben Brown, Ketting Eye Center, Corner Pub and Grill, Cardinal Blinds and Shutters, Breckenridge Brewery, Logex, High Road Ice Cream, STL Cycle Saloon, Lion's Choice, Sticker Mule, Amp Up Action Park, Andy's Frozen Custard, and Daly's Smokehouse. Stick with us. We're going to be doing a lot more captain interviews as we finish up this series. We're also going to do a podcast around the power rankings when they come out, and we'll have one final podcast looking into the season with maybe some front office members kind of looking at what we have planned for season 20. So any final words for the A's fans out there, Alex?
Just get ready to shock the world. Brian, do you have to practice all those sponsors saying that rapid fire like that?
I have them written down. I'm getting better at it, but it's a lot. Yeah, I mean,
the Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
Yeah. We're very fortunate to have as many people and companies sponsor us.
Yeah,
And we
it's awesome.
It's.
I mean, I was thinking, my two thoughts during that is like, that is quite the list.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's crazy how much the league has grown. I mean, just from season. I'm excited for season 20 because season 10 was like this big thing, but it was also, the scale felt immense at the time. But really when you look back, it was tiny compared to what we have now. We were stoked to get like $50 in Dick's wiffle balls and a poster hanging over the wall. And now we're got a website and, we had a website then, but it feels like a big thing. And so season 20 is going to be awesome.
Yeah. I've been in the league for 8 years now, I think 8 or 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't around for season 10.
Yeah. I think, you were there the season after, I think.
Yeah. So, so I didn't get to see that, but even from the time I started to what we are now is just incredible. And it's funny that it all started around a game with a weird ball and a yellow bat, and the best part is the friendships. We always talk about it, but absolutely. It's pretty exciting to have a 20th season, and I don't think anybody's planning on slowing down. So
no, it's funny to explain to people. Like I talked about it on interviews when I was interviewing for fellowship, because I have it on my application at the bottom. It's like hobbies and interests, and I have like captain of the SWBA's 2015 All-Star and all this stuff. And it was my most asked question. Like, people didn't ask about me, my research, my letters of recommendation, nothing. They're like, what is this wiffle ball thing? You're a grown man. What are you talking about?
It's like, go check us out on YouTube, baby.
Yeah, that was it. I said, you check us out on YouTube, online. But that was always my answer, is at the end of the day, it's more like a reunion, and it's, it's a friendship and a fraternity or brotherhood at the end of the day. So
for sure.
Looking forward to it. For
sure. Me too, man. Well, thank you again for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. 2 months.
Couple months. Yeah. So close. All right. See ya.